You can be that cure.
Stop.
A sacrifice.
Just stop.
For the greater good.
I'm not interested in that at all.
Get ready to go behind the scenes of one of Hollywood's most talked about and secret rivalries. Russell Crowe is finally breaking his silence about Tom Cruise and the statements he made promise to shake up the entertainment world. For years, rumors about the tense relationship between these two icons have dominated celebrity gossip, from alleged on-set disputes to biting remarks that were never made public until now. Russell, known for his strong temper and outspoken views, didn't hold back as he revealed details many thought would never come to light. The controversy revolved around episodes involving professional rivalry, personal clashes, and even some of Cruise's controversial actions that, up until now, had only been whispered about in closed circles. But what really caused the rift between the two? What hidden truths came out during this tell-all? If you want to understand the reasons behind this tension and the secrets that could forever change the way we see these stars, stick with us until the end of the video, because the final revelation will leave you stunned. Before we dive into this world, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because your subscription is essential for YouTube to recognize that our content matters. That way, we can grow and bring you even more exclusive videos. If you want to go a step further and support the channel financially, consider using Super Thanks to help us maintain the quality and frequency of our uploads. And if for any reason you can't, no worries. Just let us know in the comments which part of this story surprised you the most. We really want to hear your opinion. Now, hit play and get ready to uncover the hidden side of rivalry that few have dared to reveal. The beginning of the friendship between Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise is a story that blends coincidence, mutual connections, and that unique touch of Hollywood magic that brings people together amid the glitz and chaos of the film industry. It all started thanks to Nicole Kidman, an iconic actress who was married to Tom Cruise for many years and also shared a genuine friendship with Russell Crowe. In a way, Nicole was the bridge that connected these two acting giants. In the mid-1990s, during a casual get-together at the home of Naomi Watts, another star of the silver screen, Nicole introduced Russell to Tom. It was a laid-back setting, a friendly barbecue, where conversations flowed naturally, far from the spotlights of film sets or the glamorous events that usually surround celebrities. What might have seemed like just another social gathering among public figures turned out to be the beginning of a friendship that, despite its ups and downs, would leave a lasting mark on both of their lives. Russell, known for his intense and often reserved personality, found in Tom a companion who, though different in style, shared his passion for cinema and dedication to the craft. Their initial connection wasn't instant or perfect. Like any relationship, it involved moments of adjustment and mutual discovery. But what became clear from the start was a professional respect they had for each other, even though they came from different backgrounds and career paths. Tom Cruise, with his charisma and boundless energy, and Russell Crowe, with his more introspective and visceral approach, formed a dynamic that often surprised those observing their careers from the outside. Their friendship grew organically, built on conversations, shared experiences, and even a few disagreements, which, rather than driving them apart, helped strengthen their bond. It showed that differences can coexist within a genuine connection. One key moment in the early days of their friendship was Tom introducing Russell to the world of Scientology, the religion with which he is strongly associated. This exchange was yet another sign of how open they were to sharing meaningful parts of their lives, even those that could be controversial. Russell, curious and open-minded, explored this new realm, but always maintained his individuality and critical thinking. In this way, their friendship gained layers that went far beyond appearances, delving into deeply personal and meaningful territory. This is the backdrop of the first chapter in the story between two of the greatest actors of their generation, a story that reminds us that behind the fame and headlines, there are always complex human relationships, full of nuance and growth. Russell Crowe's interest in Scientology began in a very natural way, driven by his growing closeness with Tom Cruise, one of the most prominent figures associated with this controversial religion. Tom, known not only for his talent as an actor but also for his deep dedication to Scientology, has never hidden his connection to the belief system and has often defended it publicly. As Crowe and Cruise became closer, it didn't take long for Tom to share a bit of that world with Russell. Not as a demand, but as an invitation to explore something that was a fundamental part of his life. Russell, a man known for his curiosity and openness to new experiences, accepted the invitation respectfully. Tom showed him videos and informational material about Scientology, highlighting its principles and how this philosophy claims to offer structure and answers to personal and spiritual questions. What initially caught Crowe's attention was how Scientology presented itself as a way to help people free themselves from emotional trauma and mental blocks, something that resonated with his personal journey towards self-understanding. However, even with that openness, Russell maintained a critical and independent perspective. He explored the subject without ever losing sight of who he was or what he truly believed. Contrary to what many might assume, this exposure wasn't marked by pressure or insistence from Tom Cruise. On the contrary, their friendship seemed to respect each other's boundaries, with Tom simply suggesting Crowe look into what he found meaningful, always leaving the door open for him to make his own decisions. That mutual respect was key in allowing Russell to consider Scientology without feeling obligated or uncomfortable. It's important to remember that Scientology is a belief system that sparks both curiosity and controversy. Many people inside and outside of Hollywood hold different opinions about its methods and the impact it has on its followers' lives. That's why Crowe's position, one of exploration without full alignment, but also without immediate rejection, shows a balanced and honest approach. He acknowledged that for many people, Scientology offers a real sense of community and genuine help. But he also raised questions about some internal practices and structures that appear controversial to outsiders. Russell's interest in Scientology, shaped by his friendship with Tom, opened the door to deeper conversations about faith, belief systems, and what individuals seek in their journey toward fulfillment. It was a period of learning and reflection, one that shows how human relationships can influence our paths and choices without necessarily changing who we are at our core. In the end, this experience brought the two actors even closer. They not only share a love for cinema, but also a desire to understand the world through different lenses. That shared curiosity and mutual respect for individuality remain, to this day, key elements of the complex relationship between Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise, proving that true friendship doesn't require total agreement, but rather space for dialogue and mutual growth. Russell Crowe's remarks about the divorce of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman reveal a mature and empathetic perspective on one of the most difficult moments in the personal lives of two celebrities constantly exposed to public scrutiny. Having closely witnessed the relationship between Tom and Nicole, Crowe has always shown genuine respect for both of them, even in the face of the turbulence that marked the end of their marriage. When speaking about this delicate chapter, Russell avoided sensationalist details or rushed judgments, instead choosing a more human and understanding approach. He acknowledged that the end of any relationship, especially one as intense and public as theirs, is a painful and complex experience, filled with conflicting emotions and challenges that aren't always visible to those on the outside. Crowe emphasized that, despite the speculation and rumors that circulated in the media, it was essential to remember that behind the headlines were two real people, facing a difficult phase in their personal lives and trying to deal with the separation and its consequences as best they could. He also pointed out the importance of respecting both their privacy and individual journeys, without fueling narratives that only cause more suffering and misunderstanding. Russell also shared that during this time, he tried to be present as a friend, offering support and understanding without getting involved in conflicts or taking sides, maintaining a balance that helped preserve the mutual respect between everyone. This stance reflects not only his loyalty, but also his ability to see beyond controversies and gossip, focusing instead on what truly matters, the emotional well-being of those involved. Another point Crowe touched on was how the divorce impacted the dynamic between himself, Tom, and Nicole. He revealed that, even amidst difficulties, they managed to maintain a civil and respectful relationship, showing maturity and professionalism. He stressed that true friendship can withstand challenges and changes, and that despite their separation, he continued to value the connection he had with both of them, in his own way with each. Russell also took the opportunity to speak about how personal experiences like this influence an artist's life and work, highlighting that such moments bring lessons and growth, and that strength can be found in overcoming adversity. In the end, his statements were an invitation for the public to approach difficult situations faced by public figures with more empathy and less judgment, reminding us that despite the glamour, they are human beings, subject to the same challenges as anyone else. Crowe's friendly and understanding view of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's divorce helps humanize a story that was often distorted by the media, offering a new perspective that values respect, friendship, and the ability to move forward with dignity. The collaboration between Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise in The Mummy, released in 2017, marked a special moment in the relationship between these two major Hollywood stars. After years of speculation about possible tensions and rivalries, this cinematic project offered a unique opportunity for both actors to work side by side, revealing a new dimension to their relationship, both professionally and personally. From the beginning of filming, it was clear that Crowe and Cruise shared a common goal: to deliver a high-quality film that would captivate audiences, regardless of the rumors circulating off-set. Russell Crowe, known for his intensity and dedication, proved to be a professional and committed actor, willing to collaborate and contribute to the film's success. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise, renowned for his perfectionism and boundless energy, led the production with enthusiasm and focus, creating a dynamic and engaging work environment. Throughout the shoot, the two had the chance to exchange experiences and learn from one another, strengthening the mutual respect that, despite their differences, had always existed between them. In interviews, Crowe noted that despite the natural challenges that arise in any large-scale production, the atmosphere behind the scenes was one of partnership and cooperation. He highlighted that Cruise is an exemplary professional who values the team and dedicates himself fully to every scene, which in turn inspires everyone around him to give their best. Moreover, the collaboration in The Mummy allowed both actors to showcase their talents through distinct and demanding roles. While Tom played Nick Morton, a charismatic adventurer, Crowe took on the role of Dr. Henry Jekyll, a complex figure with a dark alter ego. This dynamic between hero and morally ambiguous character brought an intriguing layer to the narrative and required a unique chemistry between the two leads. Crowe mentioned that acting opposite someone of Tom Cruise's caliber was an enriching experience, as Cruise's energy and commitment raised the intensity of each scene and enhanced the emotional depth conveyed to the audience. In turn, Cruise publicly acknowledged Russell's talent, praising his versatility and ability to turn complex characters into memorable figures. Of course, the film's production was not without its challenges, as is often the case with major Hollywood releases. The high-budget, elaborate special effects and the pressure to revive a classic franchise demanded great effort and dedication from everyone involved. In this context, the harmonious collaboration between Crowe and Cruise was crucial to moving the project forward with both quality and efficiency. Off-camera, their time working together also seemed to help dispel some of the past misunderstandings, showing that collaboration can build bridges, even between strong personalities. Despite mixed reviews, the film's release confirmed that the union of these two stars could capture public attention and deliver memorable on-screen moments. In summary, the collaboration on The Mummy was an important milestone for both Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise, not just as fellow actors, but as individuals who, through cinema, found common ground to connect, grow, and leave their mark on a grand production. This experience reinforces the idea that behind the lights and glamour, respect, partnership, and shared commitment to excellence are essential ingredients in any successful relationship, whether in film or in life. Despite the image of camaraderie that Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise have tried to maintain over the years, there have been moments when tensions between the two surfaced publicly, though never in an overt or explosive way. These frictions, often subtle but noticeable to those who closely follow their careers, revealed that not everything was harmony between these two Hollywood giants. And as with any relationship involving strong personalities and differing worldviews, occasional clashes were almost inevitable. The first signs of strain appeared when Crowe began making low-key but meaningful comments about Cruise's involvement with Scientology. While maintaining a respectful tone, his word choices in interviews suggested a certain discomfort with how Cruise handled religious and personal matters in the public eye. Crowe once remarked that some behavior seemed a bit too intense, and that he preferred to keep a distance from philosophies that work better when not imposed on others. Many interpreted this as a thinly veiled critique of Cruise, who had previously been accused of attempting to influence friends and colleagues to explore Scientology more deeply. Another episode that fueled rumors of discord was related to behind-the-scenes dynamics during the production of The Mummy, 2017. While both actors maintained a professional stance, insider sources suggested there was a quiet competition between them, especially regarding the prominence of their characters and how they were presented in promotional materials. Crowe, who also served as executive producer on the film, reportedly had greater creative control, which allegedly didn't sit well with Crowe, a figure used to having a strong voice in the projects he joins. Though these reports were never officially confirmed, they were enough to feed the narrative of a relationship marked by vanity and ego clashes. In an interview years later, when asked about working with Crowe praised her professionalism but also offered a remark that raised eyebrows. He's a machine, sometimes perhaps a hard one to keep up with. While seemingly neutral, many took it as a subtle jab at Cruise's intense pace and controlling presence on set. For his part, Cruise avoided mentioning Crowe by name in later interviews, a move some saw as a deliberate act of distancing. Despite these moments of tension and interpretive ambiguity, it's notable that there was never a public fallout between the two. No open arguments, no tabloid-fueled feuds, just a carefully maintained professionalism that suggests a baseline of mutual respect despite clear differences. Both actors have seemed to understand that, in the Hollywood ecosystem, friction is normal, especially between two such passionate, demanding, and driven individuals. In essence, the public disagreements between Crowe and Cruise were more a series of indirect comments and behind-the-scenes whispers than dramatic confrontations. These moments hinted at a deeper divergence in personalities, lifestyles, and professional approaches. One of the most discussed early moments of tension came when Crowe commented, albeit cautiously, on Scientology, the religion closely associated with Tom Cruise. In an interview, Crowe shared that he had explored the subject out of curiosity, particularly due to his friendship with Cruise, but made it clear he wasn't convinced by or attracted to its teachings. He stated that everyone has a right to believe what they want, as long as they don't try to impose on others. Though he didn't mention Cruise directly, many saw this as a veiled critique of the evangelistic way Cruise often promotes his beliefs. Another source of discomfort, quietly echoed within the industry, occurred during production of The Mummy. In addition to starring in the film, Cruise wielded significant influence as producer, controlling many aspects of the creative process. This naturally led to tensions with other cast and crew members, including Russell Crowe, who played Dr. Jekyll. According to reports, Crowe was unhappy with how his character was handled in the narrative and with Cruise's dominance in everything from the script to the final cut. For an actor like Crowe, used to leading roles and having creative input, this dynamic didn't sit well. While neither actor spoke publicly about the issue, sources close to production noted creative disagreements and a visibly cold relationship between the two during filming. In later interviews, Crowe let slip a few subtly critical remarks. When asked about working with Cruise, he replied with a restrained smile, "Tom has a very particular way of seeing the world, and that can be a bit hard to keep up with sometimes." Though seemingly harmless, the tone and context hinted at underlying tensions. Cruise, always more diplomatic, avoided mentioning Crowe in subsequent statements, a move many interpreted as strategic silence, avoiding the reignition of past disputes. The reality is that behind the glamour, Hollywood runs on egos, and when two powerhouses like Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise come together, friction is almost inevitable. Both are intense, passionate about their work, and known for being anything but easygoing behind the scenes. And when such forces collide, even with a polite surface, tension is likely. Despite these frictions, it's important to note that there was never a public rupture between them. Crowe and Cruise maintained mutual respect and chose to go their separate ways without creating lasting enemies, a testament to their maturity and professionalism. Still, the episodes of tension between them serve as a reminder that even among Hollywood's elite, relationships are layered, filled with alignment and disagreement alike. And perhaps that's why the story of their connection continues to spark public curiosity. It's a narrative not just of friendship and collaboration, but also of rivalry, ideology, and two titanic personalities navigating the complicated landscape of fame, ego, and artistic control. The subtle impact of Russell Crowe's proximity to Tom Cruise and Scientology on his career, the impact of Russell Crowe's proximity and eventual distancing from Tom Cruise and Scientology is a fascinating and, at the same time, subtle chapter in the actor's career. It wasn't something that drastically pushed him out of the spotlight, but it did influence how he came to be perceived within the industry, and even affected the kinds of projects that came his way over the years. At the height of his friendship with Tom Cruise in the early 2000s, Crowe was experiencing a meteoric rise. He had just won an Oscar for Gladiator and was garnering further acclaim with films like A Beautiful Mind and The Insider. He was regarded as one of the most talented actors of his generation, commanding the screen with intensity and known for his fierce commitment to every role. At that same time, Tom Cruise was already an established star, not just as an actor, but also as a powerful producer with real influence in Hollywood. Their connection could have been a catalyst for more collaborative opportunities for Crowe. Curiously, however, that friendship never translated into frequent partnerships or long-term projects. On the contrary, there seemed to be a sense of caution between them, as if the off-screen friendship had clear boundaries when it came to work and public exposure. Industry insiders have long suggested that Crowe's indirect association with Scientology, however brief or superficial, cast a subtle yet lingering shadow over his public image. Hollywood is a world driven by perception, and any connection to controversial topics can influence casting decisions, film financing, and critical reception. Although Russell never joined the church, the mere fact that he was seen as someone curious or possibly sympathetic sparked speculation, especially after he made statements distancing himself from it. This distancing, in fact, had a dual effect. On one hand, it separated him from a powerful and influential circle in which Cruise is a central figure. On the other, it reinforced his image as an independent artist who doesn't conform to institutional or ideological expectations. Following this period, Crowe's career began to shift slightly. He continued to take on strong roles and remain respected, but it became evident that he chose more personal, less commercial paths, often opting for smaller projects, independent films, or more sporadic performances. Some would say he prioritized quality over quantity. Others argue that his more private stance, combined with a reputation for being difficult behind the scenes, a narrative further shaped by tensions with Cruise, may have made big studios hesitant, preferring talent that offers stability and predictability. His experience working with Cruise on The Mummy, 2017, also helped shape the perception of this later phase of his career. The film was not well received by critics, despite heavy marketing efforts. And while Crowe's performance was generally praised, the production became more remembered for its behind-the-scenes conflicts than for its cinematic impact. For many, the project symbolized not only the end of Universal's attempt to launch a shared monster universe, but also the final note in a collaboration that had once promised far more than it delivered. In short, the impact of Crowe's brief closeness to and subsequent distancing from Tom Cruise and Scientology wasn't immediate or scandalous, but it left a mark. He remained a respected actor, but chose to step away from the game of influence and control that often defines Hollywood. And for those who know Russell's style, that makes perfect sense. He is, above all, committed to his own truth, even if that means passing up opportunities in exchange for autonomy, integrity, and peace of mind numero. The most recent revelation Russell Crowe shared about Tom Cruise is, without a doubt, the kind that seems to close a long cycle of silence, not with noise, but with the quiet strength of a decisive whisper. He revealed that, despite early curiosity and certain closeness, there was never any real commitment to Scientology. He never crossed the threshold of the church, and the connection between him and Cruise was always marked by freedom of choice, never obligation. He stated it clearly, "I never ended up putting my 2 cents on anyone's table," evoking the image of someone who evaluated, considered, maybe even explored, but never gave himself over. That simple phrase is loaded with meaning, as it dismantles a narrative that he was pulled into an ideology by the influence of his friendship with Cruise. Instead, it affirms that every step he took was guided by his own conscious decision. Russell shared that in his conversations with Tom, there was never any pressure. He used a curious metaphor. He never tried to sell me a pair of shoes, showing that even though Cruise is charismatic and deeply committed to his beliefs, he never made a forceful approach. This revelation becomes even more powerful when we consider the weight pop culture often places on those who are close to figures strongly associated with controversial beliefs. With this statement, Crowe puts an end to speculation once and for all, saying that his curiosity was simply that curiosity, not a gateway. He also shared that, when revisiting that period with greater maturity, he realized that many of Scientology's teachings simply didn't align with his own worldview. Rigid hierarchies, layers of secrecy, demand for loyalty, aspects that felt incompatible with his pursuit of authenticity and inner freedom. By drawing a clear line between admiration and adherence, Crowe transforms what many saw as quiet tension into a definitive declaration of emotional and intellectual independence. And, in a final act of transparency, he made it clear this revelation is not an attack. It's a release for himself, and for the public narrative that surrounded him for so long. It's this freedom, this conscious choice to say no, or yes, only when it truly feels right, that signals a new era in his story. Not just in how we understand his relationship with Tom Cruise, but in how we understand Russell Crowe himself, an artist with convictions, who explores questions and ultimately follows his own truth. And that wraps up our deep dive into Russell Crowe's most honest and revealing statements about Tom Cruise. A story full of nuances, curiosities, tensions, and personal choices that definitely changed the course of two Hollywood legends. Now, tell me in the comments, what surprised you the most in this video? Did you expect this side of the story? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps our content reach more people and shows YouTube that this kind of video deserves to be recommended. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can click the super thanks button down below. But if you can't right now, just commenting already helps a lot. Before you go, click the video that's popping up on your screen. It's even more interesting, more engaging, and will totally keep you hooked. See you there.